Welcome back, everyone. Ready to go over Chapter 7, The Increase of Mental Power. And I just went ahead and finished my meditation. I went for 25 minutes. I feel pretty good right now. Remember, meditation helps you to bring your spirit, your mind, and your soul in alignment with each other. So, don't forget to meditate while at the same time we are repeating the Bia mantras. For those of you who don't know what a mantra is, mantra means an instrument of thought, or basically mind tools. You have 7 chakra systems within your soul, and the soul is what constitutes the body. You have 7 chakra systems in your soul, and each one of the 7 chakra systems has its own special properties, each given to you from the 7 planets within our solar system. So, when you repeat these mantras, when you speak, you're literally creating energy. Your words are a form of energy, and you are resonating with the energy of those chakra systems. And please excuse the background noises. My brother and my nephew are doing their thing. So we're going to do our best to stay focused, and just do your best to stay focused with me. So, the increase of mental power. All mental actions that consciously move towards the within tend to increase the capacity, the power, and the quality of the mind. Hold on. Let me close the door really quick. Yeah, I know you were. Okay. So, sorry, we don't share the same room, but we could kind of, we'll leave it at that. The majority of mental actions in the average mind, however, move towards the surface, and this is one reason why advancing years bring mental inferiority, as the converse of this law is also true. That is, that all mental actions that move towards the surface will decrease the power of mind. According to the law of growth, and the more we use a faculty, the larger and stronger and more perfect it should become, provided it is used properly. Therefore, continuous use in itself should invariably bring increase. I just read that one. However, the use of anything may allow the lines of destruction as well as construction. For this reason, we must train all mental actions along constructive lines, and we find all constructive action tends to deepen mental action. In other words, tends to move towards the within. The value of the increase of mental power is clearly evident along all lines. Everything must increase in the life of him who is perpetually increasing his own personal power. We know that a large mind creates more extensively than a small one. The creations of a highly developed mind are more worthy than the creations of an inferior mind, and the achievements of any one are in proportion to that one's capacity of power. Now I just want to go over, when he says inferior and superior, I don't really like those words, because the way a lot of people perceive those words to be, when he just says inferior, just look at it as the positive side of thinking, and when he says inferior, he's connecting it to the negative aspect of thinking, because when you're in a negative state of mind, your mind contracts, and when you're in a positive state of mind, your mind expands. That is why you see people who are in an angry mood, or they're frustrated, they lose stuff, they forget where things are, they forget where they put them, because their mind is contracting because they are moving into that negative state. And it is hard, it's very hard, I'm not going to lie, to train your mind to always be positive. It is very difficult, especially when you've built that strong negative ways of thinking before, like he was talking about, those tendencies, those mental tendencies. If you have that mental tendency of negative thinking, it's going to be easier for you to think along those lines, because your brain is your instrument. It literally takes the form and shape of the thoughts you produce. So if you want to change the way you're thinking into a more positive way, you're going to have to, I don't want to say force yourself, but you're kind of going to have to force yourself to think along the lines of being positive. Because, as you're positive, your mind is expanding. That is why it's always important to stay positive. And Zig Ziglar always says it in his motivational videos, like, positive thinking won't make you do anything, but it will make you do everything better than negative thinking will, because you're more open and you're more expanded to what's around you. When you're calm and you remain in a calm and balanced state of mind, in a positive state of mind, you will remember those things you put, or where you put them. You will remember what just happened. You won't be so caught up in that moment of negativity that you have, because you'll remain in the positive aspect of the thinking, and it'll keep your mind expanded and more aware of what's going on around you. Trust me, I've had my own personal experiences. We've all had our own personal experiences, and like I said, personal experience is far more convincing than anything I could say. So just remember, what we're going over here, and always keep that in mind, because we're here trying to share this information with you. It's up to you to do with it what you will. Okay, we're over here. I'm going to go ahead and read this paragraph again, okay? The creations of a highly developed mind are more worthy than the creations of an inferior mind, and the achievements of any one are in proportion to that one's capacity to power. Therefore, when we begin to increase the value of life, everything pertaining to life, as well as everything coming into life, will increase also. Perpetual development in ourselves means perpetual increase in everything of worth required in our sphere of existence. This is the law, but so long as mental actions move towards the surface, mentality is diminished. Therefore, the opposite process must be established. By training all mental actions to move constantly towards the within, we increase perpetually the capacity, the power, and the quality of mind, and the reason why is very simple. When mental actions move towards the surface, consciousness will be centered upon the surface of things, and will therefore picture in mind the lesser and inferior side of things. Those mental energies that serve as patterns for the creative energies will in consequence be formed in the likeness of the smaller, and the result is that the mind will be created according to the lesser and more inferior conception of itself. Basically, what this whole paragraph says, it's like I just said in the beginning of the video, like meditation. Meditating is good because it takes your mind and brings it back to the within, because it is what is happening within you that you express on the outside of you. That is everything that we've been going over. Your thoughts are being put into your mental factory, your mind, and then your body, your soul, is in response to what is happening inside of your mind, and it takes form and shape to what is going on in your mental tendencies. And basically this whole paragraph was saying, if we fail to go within at times, we will get so lost in the outside world, and it'll be easy for our mind to be impressed by what is going on around us. That is why we have to take the time to go within ourselves and bring ourselves back into alignment. Does that make sense? Okay. On the other hand, when all of the actions of mind move towards the great within, the eye of the mind, your third eye, your ajna chakra, or your third eye chakra, they call it ajna, will concentrate upon the world of greater possibilities. The conception of things will in such a mental state constantly increase, because attention at such times is concerned only with that which is larger and superior. Thus the mental energies will be directed towards the idea of superiority, and the creative energies will naturally rebuild the mind gradually and steadily upon the larger and more perfect scale. This is very simple, and anyone who will examine the workings of his own mind will find it to be absolutely true. We understand therefore how each individual has in his own hands the power to create for himself a greater mind, a more perfect personality, a richer life, and a more desirable destiny. In all methods for mental development, this law must be wisely considered, for no matter how perfect the method may be, if the mental actions move towards the surface, no results will be gained. While on the other hand, if the mental actions move towards the within, results will positively be gained, even though the methods be inferior. Nearly all minds in the past have continued to develop through life, did so without system, but gained increase through aspiration, or rather concentration upon the greater possibilities of life, which in turn cause mental actions to move towards the within. When your attention is turned upon the inner and the larger phases of life, your mind will begin to turn its actions upon the great within. Accordingly, all mental tendencies will begin to move towards superiority, and all the building forces in your life will have superiority as their results. As their goal. I read that for a second. I was like, hold on. And all building forces in your life will have superiority as their goal. Well, goal, results, same thing. That you should constantly rise in the scale when thinking and acting in this manner is therefore evident. Remarkable results have been gained and can be gained simply through aspiration. But if a complete system of the best methods are employed in conjunction with the fundamental law, these results will naturally increase to a very great degree. For this reason, all things that are conducive to the growth of the mind should be employed in harmony, so that the increase of mental power may be gained in the largest possible measure. To train the mental actions to move towards the within, we should concentrate attention upon the greater possibilities of life, and think as deeply and as much as we can upon those possibilities. In fact, we should train the mind to look towards the within at all times, and view with great expectations those superior states that before long will be attained. In addition, all tendencies of life should be trained to move towards the higher and the larger, and every thought should have an ascending spirit. When you feel that you are becoming too much concerned with the superficial, turn attention at once upon the depths of existence. Basically what he's saying there, when you feel that you're becoming too concerned with what is happening on the outside of you, go into meditation and turn your focus on your existence, which is your world within. And when you feel that you have fallen down temporarily into the world of inferiority, use every effort at your command to rise again towards the heights. The leading purpose should be to train all the forces, desires, tendencies, and actions in life to move upward and onward at all times. This will cause the greater powers and possibilities within to be awakened, which will be followed by the perpetual increase of the capacity, the power, and the quality of the mind. And with this increase comes also the increase of everything else in life that is required for our highest welfare. When this increase of power begins, it will naturally be felt in various parts of the mind, and in order to know how to make the best possible use of this increase, as well as the power we already possess, we should remember the great law, that whatever you feel that you can do, that you have the power to do. I want to read that again. Whatever you feel that you can do, that you do have the power to do. If you feel like you could, build a business, you have the power to do that. If you feel like you could go out into the streets and help someone out today, you have the power to do that. We all have the power. We the people have the power. We could do whatever we put ajna to our minds. There are many methods through which we can determine what the mind really can do and what work we may be able to carry out successfully, but this particular law is the best guide of all, provided it is properly understood, and it is extremely important to discover what we are able to do, because the majority are not in their true spheres of action. To be in your true sphere of action means better work, greater results and more abundant good both to yourself and to others with whom you are associated. It also means that you can be at your best at all times, and he who is at his best at all times and is on the way to perpetual growth and perpetual increase. To do your best work in your true work, you must employ the largest and strongest faculty that you possess. But to learn what this faculty actually is, this is the problem. This problem can be solved, however, if we live in compliance with the law just mentioned. The power that we possess is always felt. Therefore, when you feel that you can do a certain thing, it means that there is sufficient power in that particular faculty that is required. But a faculty must be large before it can contain enough power to be consciously felt. Consequently, the fact that you feel power in a certain faculty proves conclusively that that faculty is large, and it possessed of considerable ability. From this point on, the question to decide is, where you feel the greatest amount of power, because where you feel the most power, there you will find the greatest ability. This is conclusive, but here another question arises. That is, if the feeling of the average person is always reliable, the answer is that it is not, but it can be made so with a little training. All psychologists have come to the conclusion that there is but one sense, the sense of feeling, and that all other senses, both in the external and the internal, are but modifications of this one sense. It is also admitted that the sense of feeling can be cultivated along scores of lines where it is now wholly inactive, and that there is no perceptible limit to its development along any line. This being true, we shall go to the very foundation of all the senses, and all the modes of discerning things, when we take the sense of feeling for our guide in the selection of that work for which we have the greatest talent and power. To train the sense of feeling in detecting the exact place in mind where the greatest power resides, the first step is to make this sense normal, which is highly important because the average person has so many artificial desires and permits the mind to be stimulated by every successful venture that is heard of. There are a great many people who become aroused with ambition to enter the literary world whenever they learn of remarkable success attained in that world. Thus their energies are temporarily turned upon the literary faculties, and they feel considerable power in that part of the mind. This they think is sufficient evidence that they have literary I got a little bit distracted for a second. I know. We're still working on our focus, and I hope that you're working on your focus too, because it is a faculty, like he's saying, that you have to train. It is a faculty. It's a power that you have. This they think a sufficient evidence that they have literary talent and makes attempts to get results in such work. But they soon find that the inspiration in that direction did not last, and they are compelled to try something else. Basically saying there is that a lot of people always jump from one opportunity to another because they see the success that somebody has in that certain realm of opportunity. Trust me, I've had my experience. And their energies are temporary because they see it and they go for that, and they completely disregard what they had already built on this opportunity. And so they're completely starting over, and the main goal is to find what you are passionate about, find what you want to do, not what everyone else sees that they have or what they got from this doing this certain thing. But what is it that you are good at? What is it that you are passionate about? What is it that you always feel inside of you and that you are always compelled to do? Because that is what you are supposed to do. That was what you were created to do. So, find your passion, build that talent, become as great as you can become at it, and watch what happens after. Amazing things will happen for you. Thus their energies are temporarily turned upon. Okay, I'm I'm reading this whole second half again, okay? Thus their energies are temporarily turned upon the literary faculties, and they feel considerable power in that part of the mind. This, I think, is sufficient evidence that they have literary talent and make attempts to get results in such work, but they soon find that the inspiration in that direction did not last, and they are compelled to try something new. And I also want to say this: whatever it is you want to do, keep going for it. Do not give up. If it's a book you want to write, if it's something you want, like books you want to share with the people who are looking for it, keep going. Do not give up. Emerson didn't give up. Henry Ford didn't give up. Marconi didn't give up. Steve Jobs didn't give up. Bill Gates didn't give up. Wallace D. Wattles didn't give up. All these people, Gandhi, Jesus the Messiah, he did not give up. And look what these people did. They went for something that they believed in, that they knew to be true. Sooner or later they found their crowd, and the people who they found was where they belonged. So if you're not in an environment to where you don't feel sufficient for you, maybe you don't really belong there. Maybe you need to go for what you are created to go for, because that is what we are all here to do. God wants you to have your dreams. He wants you to have your goals. He wants you to accomplish this life the way you want it to be, because that is what He made you for, to live happily and do what you want to do. So keep persisting in whatever it is you want to do, and sooner or later you will watch that your environment will change. Yeah, things may be lonely for a while. The group you were with before may not be the group you stay with after, because your environment will start to change. Your opportunities will start to change, because you are changing. You are growing as a person. You are being placed in an environment where you belong, because the talents and faculties that you have developed are necessary for that specific environment which you are moving into. And you need that stuff, and you need to move forward, because the world needs you to share with it the genius and talents and abilities that you have. We are all here for each other. Don't let those who aren't making the most of themselves stop you from becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Okay, that being said, let's continue. Then these people may learn of remarkable success in the business world. They become enthused over the possibilities of commercial ventures and turn their energies in that direction, but they soon find that their commercial faculties are not large enough to carry out their ambitions along this line. In consequence, they turn their attention to the next venture that looks promising. There are thousands of minds who are constantly affected in this way, drifting from one thing to another. They imagine that because someone is succeeding in a certain work that they may also succeed in that work, provided they have inclinations along that line. They also imagine that they are the very ones to enter every particular field where the demand for great service and great ability is required. The reason is their minds are controlled by appearances and what they feel as the result of the switchings of energy here and there from one faculty to another. Such people therefore cannot rely upon the sense of feeling in any time of action, because it is seldom normal. To produce a normal sense of feeling for the purpose in question, we should never pay attention to what others have done or are doing, because the success of others proves nothing as far as we are concerned. We must not look at the power of another man's brain, but try to find what there is in our own brains. We should never permit the enthusiasm of others to intoxicate our own minds. We should let others be enthused in their way, and we should let them concentrate upon what work they like. But we should not imitate others either in thought, enthusiasm, or feeling. Like I was saying, you are your own person. You have your own talents, your own abilities, your own specialties. You have your own light. You have your own voice. You have your own things to share with the world. Don't try to be like somebody else, because you are the person that you need to be. God didn't create us to be like everyone else. He created us to stand out. We are our own unique individuals. Just be you. The world will adjust. The course to pursue is to watch yourself closely for some weeks or months and try to discover in what faculty you feel the most power. If you feel the greatest power in a certain faculty and in that one only, you may choose that faculty without further examination and give it all your force, energy, ambition, and desire, realizing that the application of that faculty will bring the greatest results that you could attain in your life. But if there are several other faculties that seem to be equally strong, wait and watch more closely until you finally discover the seat of the greatest power. When two or more seem to be equally strong, and continue thus under the most rigid self-examination, choose the one that you can use to the best advantage now, and turn all your power for attainment and achievement in that direction. When there is prolonged uncertainty as to where the greatest amount of power is expressed, try to increase the power of every part of your brain by directing the subconscious to express more power from within. The value of this is found in the fact that the greatest amount of power always goes to the largest faculty, so that an increase of power will in every case reveal the existence of the leading talent or faculty in your possession. After you have made the sense of feeling normal, that you can feel the state of your mind as it really is, you can always depend upon the law that whatever you feel that you can do, you have the power to do. And you may proceed to act along that line knowing that you will succeed, no matter how difficult the undertaking may seem to be. No matter how difficult the undertaking may seem to be, it is the presence of the great power in a certain faculty that makes you feel that you can do things by using that faculty. Therefore, when you can feel what faculty is the largest and strongest, you know positively what you can do, what you can accomplish, and what you should undertake. True, a great deal of training of that strongest faculty may be required, but since the talent, the ability, and the power are there, the results must follow when the practical application is made. Practical application. Putting these things in practice. Don't just read about it. Don't just learn about it. You have to put it in practice in order for it to really take hold and root within yourself. So, with all that being said, that will be the end of chapter 7. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching, sharing, and learning with me. I'm here doing God's work, which is helping those who are looking for a better way to live to find it. And for those of you who do believe, all this will come true in your life, and just watch where it takes you. That being said, if you like this video, share it, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video on chapter 8 on the within and the without.